So let me see. How we create this? Now I give values for x, y, and z, and I'm gonna enter the value here. So let's say the solution that we're looking for is gonna be 1, 2, 3. So that means x is 1, y is 2, and z is 3. So if x is 1, this is 2 is gonna be 4, 4 and 3, 7, and 1, 8. Okay? 1, negative 1, 3 is going to be 9 here, 9, 7, and then it's going to be 8 again. And then here's going to be 1, and 2 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6, negative 3. Is that okay? Let me check this. I don't want this 8 here. So maybe I change this. Maybe I change this. Let's see. If I have like that, this is going to be negative 1. So this is going to be 2. Great. Now put that 2 here. Okay? 1, 4, 5, 8. 1, negative 1. 2, 3. 6. Perfect. So, I just created a problem, right? I gave the answer. Now we need to solve this. We're going to solve this first by substitution. Then we're going to use Cramers rule. Okay? So, we already learned how to solve a system of equations with 2 variables by substitution. Didn't we do that? So, what was the strategy? What was the procedure to solve by substitution? What is that we did? Do you remember?
I do.
Anybody? Do you remember? What did you do? For instance, if I have something like this, x plus 2y equals 3, x plus y equals 5, how do you solve this by substitution? What is the first thing you do?
Go to add your x's.
You add? No, that's the addition and elimination method. And talk about the substitution method. The word is already telling you what to do. Substitution, right? It's going to substitute what?
You have to like solve for either y or x and then plug it
Thank you. Yes. You solve it for one variable. You select one variable and you solve for that variable. Let's say you select y. So you solve it for y, right? Solve it for y means what? Isolate y here. So I move x to the other side. And then you pick up this thing here and you do what? You substitute in the other equation. Okay? So now what's going to happen is going to have x plus 2 times y, and y is exactly like this, so I can plug that in here. I have now one equation with one variable, and I can find the value of x. That's the whole purpose. Once I find the value of x, I plug in here, and I find the value of y. Is that clear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so please make sure you guys know this was the topic from last quiz, so you should know this. Okay. Now we move into this. This is a little more complicated. So what do you think we're going to do here? It's the substitution method again, right?
Just pick one variable.
Exactly. Select one variable. Let's say which variable you want. I'm giving you the freedom to select, which variable you want. Z. Okay. So from here, I select Z. I solve it for Z. So that means 8. Take away this guy, take away this guy. So it's going to be negative x, negative 2y. Okay? So Z is a variable that represents a quantity, right? A number. So z is exactly the same as this, because it's equal, right? It's exactly the same. So what does that mean? That means that now I can substitute on the other two equations, right? This whole value here. Do you see what I'm doing? So let's do that, and you see what's going to happen. It's just magic, okay? So from here, I'm going to say x negative y plus the value of z. The value of z is 8 minus x minus 2y equals to 2. Okay? Now I'm going to combine the like terms. So this x with this negative x here is going to cancel. Here I'm going to have negative 3y plus 8 equals to 2. Okay? Now, 8 goes to the other side. It's going to be negative 3y equals what? 2 minus 8 is? Negative 6. So y is negative 6 divided by negative 3. That is 2. Wow, I already got my first value, right? You see that? So this is the first equation that I have here. Y equals 2. Okay? Now, let's do the same. Let's plug in here. Okay? Let's plug this here on the other equation, and let's see what's going to happen. So this is one thing that we got. Now, let's plug that one here. Okay? So it's going to be x plus y minus 2z. But 2z is this. 8 minus x minus 2y. Okay? And this is going to be equal to negative 3. From here, I just moved there. I have a negative 2 here that I'm going to distribute it. So we're going to be x plus y minus 16 plus 2x plus 4y equals negative 3. I just distributed negative 2 times 8. Negative 2 times negative x is positive. Negative 4 positive there. So now let's combine the like terms. I have 3x plus 5y. 16 I can add on both sides. It's going to be what? Positive 13. Okay? So now I have this equation here. A second equation. You see? I have one equation and a second equation just by reducing the number of variables here. When I solve it for z, I have z in terms of x and y. And when I plug in these two equations, I have now a new system of equations, that has 3x plus 5y equals 13, and the other one, that is y equals 2. So this is a new system of equations, right? It just happened that y is already here, right? The value of y is already here, but I have reduced 3 equations with 3 variables to a system of 2 variables, 2 equations. Now it's easy to solve this one. It's already solved for y. I even have the value of y. I plug in here, so I'm going to have 3x plus 5 times 2 equals 13. 5 times 2 is 10. Making my life really easy. Then I have 3x equals, take away 10 on both sides. 13 minus 10 is 3. X is equal to 1. Beautiful. 1, 2. I have already x, the value of x. I have the value of y. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to plug in here to get the value of z. So z is going to be 8 minus 1 minus 2 times 3 is 6. So I have here 7. Wait. Something. Oh, it's 4. 2 times 2 is 4. It's not 6. Okay? 4. Okay, so 8 minus 1 is 7, minus 4 is 3. So Z is 3, and I got my final answer. So the final answer is 1, 2, and 3 for X, Y, and Z. Is that okay? Okay. So now, let's do Cramers rule, all right? Let me erase this here. Cramers rule. So let's see, let's start with a small problem first. Let's see if I have x plus y equals 5, then 2x plus 3y equals 13, okay? So x is 2 and y is 3. X is 2 and y is 3. So 2 plus 3 is 5. This is 4, 9, 4, and 9 is 13, okay? This is the answer. So let's see how we solve this here using the Cramers rule. Well, the Cramers rule, you need to first build a matrix, okay? The matrix that you build is based on the coefficients of the equation. So the first coefficient here is what? Where's the value? 1, right? This coefficient is 2. This is 1, and that is 3. Here you go. We have the first matrix. Okay? Once you have the matrix, you have to calculate what is called the determinant of the matrix. The determinant is a number that characterizes this array of numbers. Okay? To calculate the determinant, you have to multiply this number with this one, the diagonals. 1 times 3, and then you subtract the product of the other diagonal, okay? So this diagonal is going that way, this diagonal is coming this way. So if you remember the number line, this is the positive, this is the negative, right? So this diagonal is positive, this diagonal is negative. That's why I have a negative sign here. And it's going to be 1 times 2. So here's going to be 3 minus 2 is equal to 1. So the value of the determinant is, the main matrix determinant is 1. Okay? Now, in order to calculate the value of x, we need to build a different matrix, what is called the dx matrix. Okay? The dx matrix is you're gonna build the dx matrix by picking these numbers, okay, 5 and 3, and substituting the first column. This is the x column, this is the y column. So if I want to calculate the dx, I need to substitute that column by these two numbers and repeat the other one. So this is the dx matrix. The dy matrix is going to be the same thing. I repeat the x column, but I substitute the y column. Okay? So on this system of equations, how many variables do we have? 2, right? So we have to do a matrix for each variable, the dx, the dy, and we need to have the main matrix, okay? Now we need to calculate the determinants. How do you calculate the determinants here?
Cross multiply.
Cross, yes. 3 times 5 is 15, minus 13, that is 2, okay? What is the determinant here? It's going to be what? 1 times 13 is 13 minus 10, that is 3. Okay? Now, how do we calculate the variable x is going to be what? Here I have what? dx, right? dx divided by d. How do I calculate y? dy divided by d. But d is 1, so 2 divided by 1 is 2. 3 divided by 1 is 3, so x is 2 and y is 3. So you see I got the answer correct? Is that okay? So this is Cramer's rule. All right. Well, why are we doing this? Well, there's a lot of applications with computer that this way of doing is more appropriate. Okay? So that's why we're learning this. It looks more complex than solving this, right? By substitution or elimination. But here you're going to see that, it's going to be much easier. So let's do now the 3 by 3. This is a 2 by 2 matrix. Let's do now the 3 by 3 matrix. Okay? Can you guys help me how to build that matrix? Let me erase here first. And you got when you do this, you got to be very careful, okay? Because any little number or sign that you forget, that's it, right? You get it wrong. So my advice for you is that if this is on the final, okay? If they ask you to solve this either by substitution or Cramer's rule on the final, leave this question for the end, okay? Because it's going to require a lot of energy and a lot of time. And I don't want you to spend all the time with one problem. It is true that a problem like this usually is 4 points, but you have many, many easy questions. There are 2, 3 points, and if you do all those, you're going to pass the class, right? So leave this thing here for the end, all right? So let's build the matrix. How do you do that? What is the main matrix? So from here, 1, 1, 1, right? So 1, 1, and 1. From here is going to be 2, -1, and 1. And from here I have 1, 1, and -2. 1, 1, and -2. So this is the main matrix. All right? So now we need to build the dx matrix. All right? And the dy matrix. And the dz matrix. Right? So let's calculate the determinant here, because this is different. Remember was the 2 by 2, you had the diagonals, right? Here also you have diagonals. Let's see, this is one diagonal, right, that goes this way. Okay? So let's calculate the product. 1 times -1 is -1. -1 times -2 is
2.
+2. So that's my first one. Plus, because I have another diagonal coming this way, this diagonal here. 2 times 1 is 2. But I have only 2 numbers. I need another number, right? Where's the other number? Here. Okay? 2 times 1 is 2 times 1 is 2. So there is another diagonal here. 1 times 1 is 1. Where's the other number? Here. 1. Okay? So it's like you get 1, 2, and then you bring it here, and you have 1, 2, and you bring it up there, right? Now going this way. So, but you start with the negative now, because remember, this way is negative, right? You already put the negative there. But here it's going to be 1 times -1 is -1. -1 times 1 is -1, -1. Okay? Put parentheses. Be careful. Another negative, because now I have this diagonal. 1 times 1 is 1 times that, -1. +1 there. And then this times this is positive with negative. It's going to be -4, but I have a -4. Okay? So let's calculate now this. 2 to 5. This is going to be +6. -5 again. This is going to be +9. Okay, I got 9. Is that okay? First one? So let's do the dx now, right? Let's do the dx. dx. Let's build the matrix dx. So tell me, what do you guys think, how is the dx matrix is going to look like?
So it's gonna be, the first column is gonna be 8, 2, and negative 3.
Excellent. And then the rest I just repeat, right? 2, negative 1, and 1. And here I have 1, 1, and negative 2. Beautiful. So now we're going to calculate the determinant here, right? So it's going to be 8 times negative 8, and this is going to be positive 16. Now, 2 times 1 is 2, times negative 3 is negative 6, right? Positive 2, the negative 3 is negative 6. Now, this is positive 2, and this is also 2, okay? Now we're going to be the negative diagonals, right? Start with negative. Always remember to put the negative there. So this is going to be negative 1, positive 3, okay? Next, positive 1, 8. Next, this is going to be 4. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And I put that here in parentheses. So now let's calculate this. 10, 12, 9, 1, and positive 8 is going to be what? 9. Okay? Now let's calculate the x. X is dx divided by d. But what is the x? The x is 9. What is d? d is 9. So this is equal to 1. And here you go. That's the answer that we are expecting, right? Is this okay? So do you guys think you can do the dy and the dz now by yourselves? Please do it, okay? To do the dy, what are you going to do? You're going to plug these numbers here, and you're going to repeat the first column and the first column there. Let me just set up for you. dy is going to be 1, 1, 1. This column is the y column. I'm going to plug 8, 2, negative 3. Repeat that, 1, 1, negative 2. Then you do all the calculation of the determinant, and then go, dz is going to be the same thing here. All right? I'm tired now, so I'm going to stop and let you guys do it.